Conversations with Iris. Here's your host, my loving wife, Iris.
Hola, mi gente bonita. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Conversations with Iris. You know, this little podcast has turned into just a whole community, a vibe, a space where we learn from each other, laugh through all that craziness, all that chaos, and just we hold a space for healing and honesty. So today, I'm super excited because we're going to be stepping into a conversation just filled with vulnerability, real courage, and just really some good old transformation that we could always use a little more of, right? If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome, my darling, my love. And to my day ones, you already know you have my whole heart here, okay? This is your girl. I'm real. I do it how it is. And before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe, download, share, and of course, leave your girl that 5-star rating because you know what? You could do that in Apple Podcasts and Spotify, but as I mentioned, you know what? That's going to help my show to grow, this platform to continue to have these awesome conversations and gain some of that good old visibility and keep these conversations, of course, flowing for you. You guys love tuning in on Fridays and listening to all this good old stuff that we have out there. And you know what, peoples? I'm just getting started because I got more in store for you. We got a whole bunch of great stories and we're just upon a brand new year. So we have a whole bunch of good old stuff coming for you all. Just wait and check it out. I read every comment now, every message, and it would truly mean the world to me. So keep that going. And a quick shout out to the Short Dads podcast, holding it down. They paved the way for this little podcast that could. They just are inspirational and always keeping the culture talking and have us laughing. They're so crazy out there, but I love what those men are doing out there, especially because my hubby created a beautiful foundation. So if you're not listening, what the heck are you doing? Go ahead and check them out. All right, mi gente, let's go into today's episode because like I mentioned, I got a good old episode for you all. Today's guest is going to be talking about inner strength. Let me tell you guys some of that good old inner strength and survival and choosing life at that moment when she believed there was no way out. Yes, you heard that correctly. She is a mother, a wife, a grandmother, and a highly successful entrepreneur, just managing 4 thriving businesses. But behind all of that, she faced what she calls the darkest night of her life, a night where she thought it was going to be her last. But you know what? It wasn't. It wasn't. So today is a powerful health advocate, and she's an award winning author. It's just an inspiring speaker who uses her experience to fight that stigma, spark conversations, and just remind people that hope and healing are a real thing and they could still happen. And now she shares her story with everyone, which I love, with schools, churches, universities, companies, women groups, and just community everywhere. She teaches about that good old resilience and the emotional awareness behind everything. So, mi gente, take a deep breath, settle in, and open your heart because this conversation is going to stay with you. Bienvenidos to my platform, Lindsay Stadel. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad that you tune in and are being just here with us, sharing your story, just tuning in. Lindsay, before we dive into your powerful story, I always like to start with something light because something that just lets the audience meet the person before the journey. Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's the icebreaker question. If you could describe yourself as a weather forecast, just like the whole vibe of it or the mood or even the energy, what would Lindsay's weather report be today? Because you know what? We could be sunny and breezy, a little cloudy, maybe warming up, or full of that Kansas thunderstorm. Let me tell you, I just saw Wicked 2, and I'm like thinking about Kansas and thunderstorms. I don't know why. But what would Lindsay's weather report be today?
Today, I would say a little on the cloudy side, but still having sun rays peek through.
I like that. I like that. Now, for those who are hearing you for the first time, would you mind sharing a little bit about who you are today? Because you play so many roles in life. I mean, you're a mother, grandmother, you just play all these wonderful roles. And a woman you are outside of the story we're about to explore. We want to know who you are. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. I grew up in Kansas, born and raised, and I've got 4 kids, an amazing husband. We've got an amazing life together. We run 4 businesses. All 4 of our kids work alongside of us every day. We get to see our grandkids, all 3 of them, every day. And gosh, we have 13 employees that work for us that are also our family.
Oh,
The
wow.
employees turn into family because you work with them every day. And things here just seem to be really, really good.
That's beautiful. It sounds like you have a very beautiful, well-rounded life. It sounds amazing. And you live in Kansas, and I just brought that up as a joke. I'm telling you, I just saw Wicked too, and I don't know, Kansas was on my mind there a little bit. I don't know what I'm talking about. Look at that, what a coincidence. I
I
love
know that's funny because I originally thought, oh well, I am a Kansas tornado, but you said how would you describe yourself today? So that's why I went where I went.
a little bit of cloudiness, but you know what? I just, I love hearing that because I love your journey because you lived through something very powerful, a dark moment in your life. And I want you to take our listeners back to that moment where everything shifted for you. I mean, the night that you describe as the night I died. You died, but you know what? You're like resurrected out of nowhere. So I want you to walk us into that night and help us understand what led you to believe there's no way out.
I had been married for 12 years, and that marriage just really turned cold. We decided that divorce was the best option. And so that was really the start of my decline.
Mm.
I found myself a single mother with 2 kids trying to make ends meet, something that I never had to worry about before. And unfortunately, I was lying, I was cheating, I was stealing, anything I could do just to keep afloat. My daughter was working 2 jobs to help support the household, and I was dating 2 men at the same time, on and off. And it just got to be the point that I couldn't handle it anymore. I was in such a web of lies that I could not see a way out.
Wow.
And that was, I don't remember. I mean, I remember the day that it happened, but I don't remember about 10 minutes from before it happened until a whole 24 hours after.
Wow. Wow. What was the shift like inside of that moment? Like what became clear to you?
Right before I jumped, I the most clear thing was that my kids deserved better, that my family deserved better, and that everyone would be better off without me.
Mm,
And so that was the reason that I did what I did. I didn't
wow.
leave a note. My kids would have never understood. I mean, my daughter would have, she was 16, but I just couldn't take it anymore. And my mind just, I mean, I broke.
Wow. Wow. And now that you said that you have lived through that, you said you jumped, you didn't leave a note. Your daughter was 16 at the time, and you told yourself, my kids deserve better. Now that you
Yeah.
went through that, and you look at individuals that maybe are in the verge of thinking about those thoughts about ending their life, do you think that those are the similar thoughts they have? Everybody's situation is different, but what can we do to mitigate that from happening? Is there anything that could have helped you before taking that jump that would have made a difference? Just out of curiosity for somebody that's listening to this.
Sure, absolutely. There's, I refer to something called TBM. It stands for talk, behavior, and mood, because it doesn't matter what the situation is. Basically, if someone's thinking about ending their life, their talk is going to be different. They are going to be joking about not being around anymore, joking about dying. They're going to be telling people that they don't want to be around anymore.
Oh.
Their behavior is going to become erratic. They're going to withdraw. Their sleep patterns are going to shift. They're going to stop doing things that they once loved to do, and then their mood changes as well. Their sadness deepens and numbness takes over. And I went through all of this. I can, now I can see when I look back that things that I was talking about, I was being reckless and not valuing the life that the life that I was given and the people that were in it. And so if someone really would have sat down with me, I was going to therapy before this happened,
Oh,
but
wow, you were.
I was not telling her the truth. And you can't be successful in therapy if you're not telling the truth. And so if
Mm.
someone really would have sat down with me and said, Lindsay, I know you're not okay. How is your mental health today? I think that there could have been a change.
Mhm.
But I but on the other hand, I don't know if it would have changed, because I was in such a dark, deep hole that I don't know if anything could have brought me out of it.
Wow, wow. And when you went through this, you talk about TBM. I like that. Talk, behavior, move. Those were the signs that you were going through. A lot of those are displayed in individuals that are going through the same thing. So after you went through this, you survived, thank God. But let's talk about that journey back to life, because survival isn't just another day. It's like rebuilding, relearning, reconnecting with yourself. So I'm curious for our listeners, what does those healing days look like for you, like in the early days? And what support you were carrying to take care of mostly the first? Like, what did that look like?
It was very dark when I woke up in the hospital. My initial thought was, why didn't it work? But then I noticed that my daughter was sitting right next to me and she was in tears.
Oh,
She
wow.
was shaking, and the look on her face really told me that everything that was broken in my body was not even close to the what she was feeling, the pain that she was feeling. And I ended up having a lifelong disability because of that incident, because of my choice. But the journey back, it really started with, being in the hospital on suicide watch for a week. And then I went to live with my mom and dad for 2 weeks. And then I went and I committed myself to a mental health facility, because I knew that if I did not do that, I was going to lose custody of my children. And I wasn't going to let that happen. It was going to
Yeah.
look better for me to voluntarily commit myself than to be court ordered.
Yeah.
And in
Mm.
the facility, uh, there was no makeup, no phones. There was no reason for me to pretend or to lie. The days were scheduled medication, group therapy, individual counseling, meals, bed. the doors locked behind you when you came in from the lunchroom, but your bedroom door stayed open, and
Mhm.
it it was there was nothing glamorous about being locked in a unit like that. But there there were other people there that were going through a lot of the same things that I was feeling. And I was reflecting on myself and trying to figure out, how do I start feeling safe in my own body that's broken? And during an individual therapy session, my counselor asked me that. She said, "Lindsay, when did you stop feeling safe in your own body?" And I really tried to answer as quick as I could, but I couldn't. My voice betrayed me. And once I finally was able to stop pretending, I
Mhm.
started sobbing uncontrollably.
Oh,
And I stopped pretending I was okay.
wow.
And that's when I started focusing on my survival and trying to get past the I grieve for the woman that I used to be, because I do not have use of my left arm or hand anymore because of my disability. But the old Lindsay died that night, and a new Lindsay was born. I was given a second chance
Yeah.
to redo my life, and I was not at all willing to go through that again. I didn't want to. I promised my kids I wouldn't put them through that again. And my best friend sat by me every single day that I was trying to heal, every single surgery that I've had. He's been there. He
Mhm.
was there the night that I jumped out of his truck,
Oh, wow. Wow.
and he
Mm.
helped me. He helped me with realizing that I did not want to be the same Lindsay that I was before, because the Lindsay that I was before was broken. And he helped me start my new life and my new journey of faith, because my faith was very broken at the time. He helped me start my life of courage, and he really helped me understand my why. Why was I still here? My why was my children. My why was him. My why was to help people that were in the same position that I was.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
my silence nearly killed me, and I don't want that to happen to anybody else. So that's why I speak today, to try to help others.
Yeah. And thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that, and letting your guard down. And because again, these are the signs and what people go through when they're trying to reclaim their life again. You mentioned that you grieved your older self. You really grieved this person. And unfortunately, I'm sorry to hear about your left hand, uh, you know, not being able to be used at this time. Have you tried therapy or anything that will, it's currently helping that disability overcome that, just out of curiosity?
I spent a couple years in therapy, physical therapy. I've had multiple surgeries, but the disability that I have, it's called a brachial plexus injury. And what that means is the nerves C7, C8, and T1 were completely pulled out of my spinal column
Oh, wow.
because of the impact. I
Mm.
basically landed on my face,
Ouch.
and I've got scarring all across my face. But because those nerves were completely torn there's no repairing that. And
Mm.
so the surgeries that I've had, along with the physical therapy, has made it so I can function. I can use my shoulder, I can raise my arm, not quite up to, level with my shoulder, but I can raise my arm. I do have some use of my elbow. I can hold like 10 pounds, but not for very long. But my hand is a claw. My hand will never open again.
Mm.
And along with that is nerve pain. It's funny because those nerves are not connected. There should not be any nerve pain whatsoever. I have no normal sensation in my left arm at all. The sensation that I have is nerve pain that feels like electric fire in my arm that won't turn off. So every single second of every single day, I live with nerve pain, and that pain reminds me of the decision that I made and the person that I do not want to go back to. So my pain has turned into my purpose, and it has
Yeah.
turned into my strength to get out of bed every day and keep keep moving forward.
Mm, I love that. Pain turned into purpose. And I want to shift and talk about now, because you sat here and you mentioned how you basically had a second chance of life, or you do now. And you basically followed by your faith, your courage, and why are you still here? And your children keep you going. And you are a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and the CEO of 4 thriving businesses. I mean, people look at you now and see this beautiful success and stability and growth, but they don't always understand that journey behind it. So, how did your family and that purpose factor into the healing in creating and becoming the CEO that you are today?
My family has, and this is also a really hard subject. My blood family has completely written me off.
Wow.
They don't want to be associated with someone who attempted suicide.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lindsay, to
And
hear that. So sorry.
I've rebuilt my relationship with my mother. I've rebuilt my relationship with two of my nieces and one of my aunts. But I'm the third oldest of nine, and there are nieces and nephews galore, you know, but I don't see family as blood. Family is who you make it.
Mhm.
And my
Yes, it is.
husband's family and my employees have become my family. And when I decided that I needed to stop staying quiet about my journey and start telling it to try to help other people, the first people that I went to were my family, my husband, my kids, and they're all three of them are married, so they're significant others. And I asked them, if I start telling my story, if I go public with my story
Mhm.
and start trying to help other people, will they be okay with it? Because I didn't want them to get embarrassed or get, any. If I didn't want people to be talking bad about the family name. And every single one of them were supportive and said, share your story, you're still here. And one of my sons, he's one of my bonus sons. My husband has two boys, and then I have a daughter and a son. And he told me, he says, I don't think of you as a stepmom. I think of you as my friend. And if you were gone tomorrow, I would be devastated. And
Oh,
so,
no.
that's one of those things that when you have a bond like that with kids that aren't even
Mhm.
yours, I love them
Beautiful.
as if they were mine, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And for them to support me like that, even though I put them through so much, because they were all involved with the entire thing as well. put them through so much, but they still accept me for who I am. Pain and uh, everything. And when they accept me for who I am, disability and all, history and all, that means that they're my family. They're the
Mhm.
ones that I want to surround myself with.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's beautiful. Family doesn't have to be blood. I
No.
I am a firm believer of that as well. I mean, we have so many friends, that we have in our life, like my husband and myself, and they're family, We talk, "Hey, that's my brother, that's my sister," and that's beautiful what your stepson said. Not only he considers you as a stepmom, but as a friend. If you were to leave this world, he would grieve you and he like a friend. And that's deep. That's beautiful, Lindsay. That is so beautiful, and I love that. And I know that, becoming the CEO of this business, I mean, juggling entrepreneurship while navigating mental health. Can you tell our listeners what have you learned most about that resilience, boundaries, and taking care of your emotional well-being?
I have learned that you don't have to pretend anymore. You don't have to be perfect. If you wake up every day, you see the sunrise, or you just see the sun in the sky, you don't have to be
Yeah,
awake for the sunrise. But if you wake up in the morning and are grateful for that life, you know, um, there's there's something that you have to do. You have to show up every day, but you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be loud about, I'm here. You just have to
yeah.
be consistent.
Mhm.
And when you are willing to feel, and when you're willing to be seen, and when you're willing to stay, I think that helps heal people around you as well.
Yeah. Especially when you've been through it, right? It makes a
Hmm.
story more relatable to those that are going through this or have gone through this, right?
Right.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Lindsay, I wanted to talk about now your mental health advocacy and just like breaking the stigma that you're doing because I love that you're sharing your story. You're talking about something so sensitive. You're using it. You're using suicide to raise awareness because you become an advocate about it, a speaker, an author, and someone who brings language and hope into finding your voice and your awareness into spaces where people feel I feel like ashamed and misunderstood at times about this particular topic in general. I mean, talking to students, churches, corporations, just women groups. What is the message that you think that you believe wholeheartedly, somebody that has been through this? You're there to coach, provide mental support that you feel that our society needs to hear about suicide, about this particular topic. What is the major takeaway here?
For me, it is, and I've kind of come up with, I don't know if you'd want to call it my tagline or my quote. I've got it on the back of my car. I've got it on t-shirts. Um, you are enough. No more proving, no more pretending, just unapologetically you. And the
Beautiful.
reason why that has become my tagline is because, yes, I understand that suicide is a very scary word,
Yeah.
but it's not a bad word. And people who are having thoughts or mental health, issues, or they should be able to be open and honest and go seek help without having the stigma placed against them. Because if someone breaks their leg and eh, they are going to go seek out a doctor to help them, you're not just going to tell them to walk it off. You can't walk it off when you have a broken leg. So why should someone whose mind is broken be told to just get over it?
Mm, mm. And I don't, and very, very agree with you. I think that is a very important message. And I want you again to tell us again that beautiful quote. Correct me if I'm wrong. You are enough. No more proving. You're just be unapologetically you. Did I say that correctly? I just want to make sure that stays to our listeners as well.
Right, almost. You were very, very close. You left one line out.
Sorry, which one was it?
Well, the whole thing is you are enough. No more proving, no more pretending,
Ah.
just unapologetically you.
Unapologetic you. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that because you survived, you healed, and now you're helping others find their way back to themselves. You've done so much for the community. I love how involved you are. And like I said, sharing your story, raising awareness. How can our listeners connect with you, learn more of you, and of course, your book? Get your book and search for you in speaking engagements as well.
Yes, if you look for me on Facebook, I have a group that is called You Are Enough. You can find me through my website. It's lindsaystadel.com. And you can also, I mean, I'm on pretty much all of the major platforms, just looking up Lindsay Stadel.
Yes.
I will have, by spring of next year, I will have 4 books that I
Wow.
have co-authored, because I believe the more books I'm in, the more people that read my story, the more they'll even be able to help.
Mhm.
And so I that's why I'm putting myself out there. And if someone listening wants to get a hold of me, please reach out. I'm willing to be a listening ear if that's what you need.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Lindsay, and letting us know where can our listeners connect with you. And I want to thank you so much for sharing your story, having the courage to speak about what you went through when your darkest moments, how you prevail, how you are a boss lady and still making great things out there. I mean, you are the CEO. Come on now, that's amazing. I love the transparency and the willingness to walk back into the hardest parts of your life so others don't have to walk through theirs alone, which means a lot. And you are the living proof that one moment, one decision could definitely change anything and everything. So thank you so much for sharing your story in this platform, Lindsay. Really appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. I am so thankful that you allowed me to come onto your platform and tell my story. And people like you are also ones that are changing the world, because you get stories like mine out there. And if it wasn't for you, there it would be really hard
Yeah.
to get these kind of stories out for your listeners. So I thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you so much. And to our listeners, to mi gente bonita, if you're struggling with depression, with thoughts of suicide, with emotional exhaustion, please hear this episode, this conversation. It's truly could change your life because at the end of the day, you matter. Your life has value and you don't have to carry this alone, as Lindsay mentioned. Remember, look for the signs of TBM, talk, behavior, mood. Always reach out to help. Talk to someone, reach out. There is help, there is love out there, and there is a purpose waiting for you. And Lindsay is the proof of that. To all my listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, downloading, sharing, and supporting this little podcast that could. As always, con mucho amor, this has been Conversations with Iris. Thank you all. Hugs and kisses. Take care.